Hey YouTube, it is Emory, and welcome back to my first year on T, where this week we are talking about shit we're tired of hearing. Like I said, this week we're talking about stuff we're tired of hearing as trans people and as people who are on testosterone, so let's get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the stuff that I'm tired of hearing is not the typical things that you would think of, like, oh, have you had the surgery yet? Or why don't you want to be a girl? Or that kind of stuff. Like, I don't really get those questions. I think people are getting to the point where that's just not stuff they typically would ask me personally. But something I'm very tired of hearing is other people telling me that they have been asked questions about me, and then them having to be like, I don't know, why don't you ask Emory? So I guess people are scared to ask me questions, but even though I make my whole, if you ever seen my Instagram, I make my whole Instagram about, like, hey, if you ever have any questions, I'm totally willing to answer. Just DM me or comment or anything. I say it on here too, like, comment down below if you have any questions. But apparently people still go to, like, my girlfriend or my friends or my family, and they'll ask them questions that they would want to ask me, but then those people can't answer because they're not me. So I'm tired of hearing my family members and people that love me being like, so-and-so asked me this question about you, like, what should I say? And I'm just like, They've all learned to say, like, why don't you ask Emory, because they can answer your question better than a third party. Another one is I keep getting unsolicited advice from cis people about, like, how to, like, feel better, which, like, I know that getting advice from someone means that they, like, mean well and they want to help you and they want you to be happier and stuff like that, but anytime I post like something about having a bad day or whatever, I mean that I'm having, like, dysphoria. Like, I'll talk about having dysphoria or having a problem with this part of my body or feeling crappy or whatever about how I look. And a bunch of cis people will comment and be like, oh, you should love yourself, you've come so far, and blah, blah, blah. And I know that they mean well, but I'm sorry, it just doesn't mean as much coming from someone who has not had to deal with these issues. Like, I understand, there's a motorcycle passing. I understand that everyone goes through their own body issues and you struggle with stuff that you don't like about yourself, but you don't know what it's like. It's having dysphoria and having, like, not liking your nose or something are not comparable, and you wouldn't know that unless you had it. So I just, if anyone is a cis person out there hearing this, I would just say, if you want to help somebody and they're having a bad day, maybe just, like, compliment other parts of them. Like, I really admire the fact that you're able to talk so openly about your struggles or something like that, where you're complimenting them without talking about them being attractive so they don't have to worry about it, or, hey, you've come so far, or something like that. Like, you don't need to tell them how to live their life or how to move on, because we're going to live our lives and move on, and we're more likely to listen to people who have had the same struggles as us. So compliment something else, or just be kind in another way, because we don't need advice from people who have not really had that struggle. And I hope that doesn't come off in a mean way. I just, it's hard to read comments like that I've come so far, or not to worry about things, or like, oh, hey, just, like, smile or whatever and it'll get better soon. And I'm like, you don't know. You don't know if it'll get better soon. I'm fine. I don't need advice. I just want to share my experience so people having similar struggles maybe can reach out to me and talk to me about it or something like that. But I don't want unsolicited advice about what I can do to make myself happier, because I am a happy person. I just have struggle days, you know? And finally, the third thing that I'm tired of hearing is people, I identify as transmasculine non-binary, which I talk about a lot. I think I try to state that pretty often, as often as I remember if I'm talking about being trans. But I am non-binary, and I don't identify as a man. Like, I've never put that label on myself. I'll say, like, trans guy because I feel like that applies to me because I'm trans, and I'll be like, sure, like, there's guy aspects of me. I identify as a trans guy. That's cool. But I've never said, like, trans man or that I identify as a man or anything like that. And people keep being like, oh, wow, you're really turning into the man you were always meant to be. And I just find that so weird because I've never been like, oh, I've always meant to be a man. And it's just strange, like, people putting this very binary value on myself that I've never asked for. And I blatantly say, like, I use they, them pronouns and he, him pronouns because I don't fully identify as male, which other people use whatever pronouns they want. But the reason I identify with they, them, and he, him is because a mixture of the two feels good and I don't identify as male. But anyways, I'm sure there are other things that I'm tired of hearing, but those are the three that, like, actually have been bothering me. I'm sure there's other stuff that, like, might get under my skin, but yeah, those are the ones that stuck out to me when I read this question for the topic of the week. So yeah, like this video if you thought it was interesting. Comment down below maybe things that you're tired of hearing, whether you're trans or cis or whatever, something that people tell you that you're sick of hearing and why, because I think those are really interesting. Especially if it's something that you talk about a lot and people get a very wrong impression of you and push it. I want to hear those stories. Comment any video suggestions if you have them, and subscribe to the channel to check out everyone else's answers to this question this week and every other week, and I will see you guys next time. All right.